Hello there, a very warm welcome to the program Reflections. My name is Yusuf Nadab Usman. Tonight we shall be looking at politics, international relations. We look at generally the civil service and some part of business. And we shall be doing that through the prism of a person that has gone through these stages and is still in the political waters of Nasarawa, that I've been saying, and has started all these political issues right from the Benue Plateau state days, far back into the 70s, and up we come to this time around. My guest is around 74 years old, and officially and by normal official nomenclature, his name is Umaru Azores Sulaiman. And people know him as Ambassador Sulaiman Azores. Umar Azores Sulaiman was born on the 23rd day of October 1946 at Azara in Awe local government area of Nasarawa State, Nigeria. Umar Azores enrolled at Azara Primary School in 1952, Senior Primary School Kefi 1956, Government College Kefi 1959, in the Ahmad Bello University Zaria in 1966 for his Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry. In 1984, Umar Azores enrolled for a one-year commercial banking training, after which he moved to Washington, D.C. for a certificate in human resource development in 1989. In 1991, Azores Sulaiman obtained a certificate in International Seminar on Privatization Strategies and Management, still in Washington, D.C. Starting as a chemist at Sokoto Cement Factory in 1970, Umar Azores Sulaiman worked at various places within public and private sector up to 1981, when he served as acting general manager, Federal Superphosphate Fertilizer Company. By 1982, Azores was the special assistant President Shehu Shagari on statutory boards, thereby opening the gate for future political endeavors that culminated in being the senator representing Nasarawa South Senatorial District and the UNCP in 1998. Umar Azores Sulaiman was a delegate at the National Constitutional Conference in 1994, and in 2007 he became the special advisor to the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State on intergovernmental relations. In March 2008, Umar Azores was appointed Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to the Kingdom of Thailand. Ambassador Azores was later appointed Secretary to the government of Nasarawa State in 2015. Ambassador Umar Azores Sulaiman is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, Chemical Society of Nigeria, and an associate member of the Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. Ambassador Azores, as is generally known, is an active player in Nigeria's search for political stability, economic prosperity, industrial development, and good governance. Ambassador Azores Sulaiman lives in Lafia, Nasarawa State, Nigeria. You're welcome to Reflection, sir.
Yeah, most welcome.
Thank you. Let's start from this name. Azores. The name, the Azores. Is this Azores or whatever? Azores.
Yes.
Your name is Umaru Azores Sulaiman, or Umaru Azores Sulaiman. I've been having this conflict of either Azores, and there you are. Can you shed more light on how, because it sounds foreign, it sounds local, there you are.
Yeah, really, I agree with what you have said. The actual pronunciation is Azores, and I derive that name from that island off the coast of Portugal, and it was given to me by my friends at Government College Kefi. Okay. In fact, it was as a result of some of my achievements in history, because all those times during the slave trade at that time, they always passed through the Azores, and also ships from Europe, when they are going to the Americas, they pass through the Azores.
It seems you are good in history. You were good in history then.
Yes. In fact, in my WAEC, I got VG2 in history, even though I'm a scientist.
Let's get to the name thing. Explaining further to then why is Azara?
Yeah, Azara,
Because Azores and Azara sounds the same.
yes.
And given my little information about you, your place of origin is around that Azara area.
Actually, I was born in Azara. Azara is a very big town in our local government. Now, those people who don't really know the history, how I came about Azores, they think I have anglicized Azara.
How did it come to be an official name of yours? Umaru, Sulaiman, fine, accepted. But here comes Azores in between them.
Yes.
And that Azores is not even indigenous.
Yes, it's true. Really, with that Azores, and with the fact that when I was in Government College Kefi, I was very good in sports. I was hockey captain, and I was table tennis captain. And you know, school days, once you are good in sports, you know, your name will be rising, you know, especially among the lower class, you know. So Azores was really very popular in Government College Kefi. So that's why officially I dropped Azara and then picked Azores. But in some of my certificates, actually, it is Umaru Azara Sulaiman.
Congratulations, Sulaiman Azores, not Sulaiman Azara anyway. That's a good one. Now let's talk about you and then see how you happen to fit so much into so many endeavors in life. Business, commerce, politics, and then to a great extent civil service at least, because you are one-time SSG in Nasarawa State. You are one-time Principal Private Secretary in Benue Plateau, then to David Gomok, the governor, or the military administrator. And then you are also at certain points in time a commercial person who has studied chemistry and was in chemistry here and there, in chemical institutions and the rest of them. Now tell us, all these things melted into you. In the 70s, you were just graduating and there you found yourself in the commercial section. And here you are today, looking at these things that you nurtured then, and some really flourishing, some have gone by, some are dead, and the rest of them. How do you see the commercial enterprise in Nigeria today? What would you say about it?
Yeah, so the commercial enterprise in Nigeria, you know, is vibrant. But the only thing is that, you know, some of the ingredients that will make things work far better, you know, they are not there. Otherwise, Nigerians, they are vibrant, and also they are very enterprising. For example, if you want to be a manufacturer in Nigeria, the market is there, but you have a lot of obstacles. The power is not there.
Power to power your machines, right?
You know, just because, you know, as I told you, 2008 to 2012, I was fortunate to be Nigerian ambassador to the Kingdom of Thailand. Thailand with a population of 66 million. Before I left Thailand in 2012, they were producing 30,000 megawatts of electricity.
Before you left?
Yes.
When you went there, can you remember how much they were producing?
It will be around that. It wouldn't be far less than that. Because if you see the industries flourishing in Thailand, it's so amazing. And you know, you remember every Nigerian, at least middle class, cannot forget the Thai rice, you know, and that's manufacturing, and that is agriculture. Because when I was ambassador, I took interest in going to various farms to see really, is it real rice?
I wanted to really ask you, the power issue is very critical. It's very critical to industrialization, to development, to education, to everything else you can think of. If at that time, Thailand was producing 30,000 megawatts of electricity, that was as far back as 2010, 2012, thereabout. And we're still not up to getting 10,000 megawatts in this country to date. What are we not doing rightly? Or what were they doing there while you came from as an ambassador differently that just give them that age?
Okay. Number one is the generation itself. Because in Thailand they have a lot of hydroelectric power generation, and then the thermal power generation, and also the gas.
I'm just asking this because our viewers would want to know what really the problem is with this country. You have seen so much of this country, and I've seen so much of other countries. And when we do some comparative analysis, we may be able to see what we are doing wrongly and what they out there are doing rightly, and maybe that will give us a leeway to getting out of this present state of things.
It's a question of having the will to face the reality.
Okay.
Because if you don't generate enough, there is no miracle. No, you have to generate enough electricity. Then you have to transmit enough electricity. Then you have to distribute enough electricity to the various homes. These are just the systems. And the starting point is the problem. Our generating capacity is still low. Then you come to the transmission itself, because as of now in Nigeria, those who have bought the generating plants, since we have sort of commercialized or privatized, they are saying that even the amount of electricity they are generating, the transmission companies or the distribution companies cannot buy all. Yes, even as of now, which is not good enough.
While people outside are really waiting for much more of this light.
Yes, this is not good enough.
That's an irony, sir.
It is.
Generate more, the company that distributes say they can't evacuate all, and people out there are waiting for more, which they cannot get. Now, let's exhaust that your ambassadorial posting and the experience in Thailand. Looking at Thailand, it's not up to Nigeria in size. I don't think so. And of course, the population.
They are just 66 million.
Which is about 1/3 or so of Nigerians.
We're approaching 200, I think.
200, yes. Okay, now, when you were there, what defining moments can you think, or moment can you think in your career as an ambassador in Thailand? What was it that you will never forget in that?
When I was in Thailand, we had the king. When we went there, the king was a bit sick. He was sick that time, but he was still the king, because they have a constitutional monarchy, and the king has to die before you have another king, you know. So the king was there, but his son, because it's hereditary, his son, who is now the king, but at that time he was the crown prince, you know, he was the one running the show. And most of the things that got me fascinated is when we have a function in the palace, and you see the way, you know, they treat their tradition and their culture. It's very nice. Even though with all the, I can say, westernized nature of the place.
They use their language, generally local language, in whatever they do.
Yes, because they have their language, but English is the language of communication for international affairs. But they have their own Thai language, and you will be amazed. You can read from secondary 1 up to university in their language. Yes, they have their own university where you use their language. But then you have English as international.
I'm asking this question because it seems like most developed countries that have gone really ahead of their peers seem to give their local language the needed prominence and deserved attention, so much so that it has become the language for development, the language for education, the language for communication and culture and whatever it is, instead of others like Nigeria who have dropped and then picked
a foreign language to look towards aid for development.
That's the problem. I think we started maybe wrongly. Because I could remember when we were in Government College Kefi, during the days of the Northern Nigeria, during the days of the late Premier, I think there was a decision by the Northern Nigerian government that civil servants must learn Hausa. You know, that was a far-reaching decision. And because that one will bring people together and then with some understanding. So really, if we had continued with our own language, like in the north, you can use Hausa and English. In the southwest, you can use Yoruba and English. In the southeast or eastern region of those days, you can use Igbo and English. I think we would have developed farther. And not only that, we would have formed a real nation. Yes, we would have formed a real nation.
Because I'm just getting bothered when you look at China, you look at Thailand, you look at France, you look at most of these developed countries, even the Middle Eastern countries, Arabic language, for instance, and the rest of them.
Yes.
Is that late for us?
It's late already. So? It's a bit late, in my opinion. How do you start it?
Well, just from where they started from. There should be a starting point for everything, at least not for our own generation, not even for our own children's generation, but looking ahead, because that is what most of these countries and people do. They look beyond 50, 100 years.
But what they can even do is to make it a language of study.
Okay, let's look at the education system briefly before we go on break. We've started talking about education, looking at language, and being the bedrock of development, because all development rests on that as a fulcrum. You've seen it all from the 60s into the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000. You've seen when education was what it is, really, with the huge glory it carries. The teacher in the society was somebody who is next to the king or the village head. And then he's always at the palace or the emir's palace for decisions and judgments and whatever. Here we are today. Teacher or teaching itself is something people are running away from, until the recent pronouncement by the president that gave the teaching profession a pronouncement or declaration that is trying to revamp or regain the lost glory of teaching.
I mean, once you solve the educational aspect, you solve so many. Once you solve the educational aspect, you solve so many.
I want us to round up the issue of your Thai ambassadorial seat. Yeah. When I was, searching you on the net, trying to get much more about you, I came across a story that was a little bit negative as far as your ambassadorship was concerned. And that was talking about the arrest of some Nigerians that protested then in Thailand during your time. And the story doesn't seem to, look so much nice and good in relation to your own person. Can you put the record straight for us?
No, it has nothing to do with me as such. Right. It's only that I was the ambassador. Yeah. Thailand, like so many of the other countries, the largest concentration of Nigerians in most of these Asian countries and even in Europe, they are people from the southern part of Nigeria, especially Igbos and Yorubas. And in Thailand in particular, the greatest problem they're having is drug. We have decent Nigerians who are doing their business, but we also have some Nigerians who are spoiling the name. Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, you find this. So what happened was that there was an election of the Nigerian leadership, community leadership, and it was my minister consular, in charge of the consular, and he happens to be a Yoruba chap. They were protesting against him because they elected somebody. Before the election, we told them we had a report, a security report, that he's a drug dealer. Okay. Because some of them, we Nigerians, some of them, sent us a report with his pictures, handcuffed, that he was once arrested. So we told them that please hold on with this election so that we can have, we can look at this issue. But they went ahead and held the election. Now the grudge was that my minister consular, having to be a Yoruba person, he did not give the new executive immediate recognition. So that's why the Igbo chaps who are supporting him, they protested at the embassy. And I, as the ambassador, as the boss, I had to come and address them. And I addressed them, I said, look, and not only that, not only protesting, they damaged the embassy. Honestly. That's why we had to call the police. They damaged the embassy. And the minister consular, I had to hide him in my toilet. They didn't know where he was. They were looking for him. So you can see it was as bad as that.
Have they found him?
Oh my goodness. My goodness. But that was the crux of the matter. We didn't say we are not going to recognize the boy, but he said, we should give us some time. And as God would have it, when I left Thailand in 2012, it was just about within 6 months, that same chap that they elected as the president, whom security report gave us a notice that he's a drug dealer, he's still in prison.
He was arrested?
He was arrested.
Well, on the same allegation?
On the same drug.
Right.
And my minister consular, I think he even died about 1 year ago. He's one chap from the southwest. Wallahi, as God will have it, 6 months after I left Thailand, he was arrested by the authorities on drug. And he's still in prison. And I think he's lucky that, Thailand stopped capital punishment. But in Malaysia, Indonesia, there is still capital punishment. But Thailand stopped capital punishment. And even in Thailand, we had a bilateral relation with Thailand whereby Nigerians who are in prison will be transferred to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Complete
their terms.
Yeah, their terms. When I was ambassador, I transferred 2 batches of Nigerian prisoners back to Nigeria, because of this treaty between Nigeria and Thailand. And majority of the cases, they had to do with drug. Very unfortunate. This is not to say that you don't have a few Nigerians who are teaching in some of the Thai universities, at least teaching English.
Some decent one for the matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
The crux of the matter is that in Asia, you have it in Asia, whether it is Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, you have this big problem like China. The biggest problem they are having with Nigerians is about drug. It's drug.
And something with the allegations then, when we look at the so-called xenophobic attacks in South Africa on foreigners and Nigerians most especially, and then when we look at the recent, problem in Ghana involving Nigerian traders and the rest of them, who have even come as far as asking the federal ministry, the federal government to go and evacuate them from there because of the segregation they are facing. These are really sources of worry and concern to every decent Nigerian. And we are not saying that they are all not decent, but given your own experience as an ambassador, how do you look at this scenario? Ghana here, treating Nigerians in that way, South Africa there, whom we've really assisted in trying to get or regain their freedom, treating it that way, and it doesn't sound good, really.
See, if the truth has to be told, I am not saying that those authorities, they were right in whatever they are doing. But if the truth has to be told, some of our brothers, they behave lawlessness. They were lawlessness. In most cases, you will find that they are involved in some criminal activities. That is the truth of the matter. They get involved in criminal activities, trying to make it fast. Honestly.
And the fastest way, most especially drug scene
yes.
and some Yahoo activities and things like that.
if we want to face reality. For example, Ekoramadu as Deputy Senate President, he went to Europe. He was Germany or one of the European countries. These people were there attacking him. Why? And those who were attacking him, they were his tribesmen. How do you do that? In a foreign country, somebody who in his own land is Deputy Senate President, and you are attacking him. Is that not lawlessness?
Oh, well, in case you are just joining us, the program is Reflections, and then we're reaching you from the Nigerian Citizen Authority. We will now take a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. So let's look at some other aspects of your life. And say, let's come back home now. Okay. And look at Nasarawa State, look at Benue Plateau State, and the rest of them. Yes. Without mincing of words, you should have been at the center of creation of Nasarawa State, given the caliber, your caliber, I would say, and of course your age and your exploits in politics and the rest of them. Haven't come that far since this state was created in 1996. It's now about 24 years. Politicians are there carrying the burden. What would you say about this burden and how heavy and how costly this democracy is?
During Abacha's time, there was constitutional conference. In fact, I campaigned on the basis of when I go to the constitutional conference in 1994, one of the things that I will fight for is for the creation of Nasarawa State. And I got elected because it was by election. But then we had some nominated members, but I was elected, representing the whole of this senatorial district as of now. And when we wrote the draft constitution, 1994 to 95, we recommended that there should be state creation and there should be local government creations. And Abacha accepted. And as God will have it, when Abacha decided to set up a committee in 1995, 13-member committee under Chief Arthur Mbanifo, a traditional title holder of Onitsha, I was one of the 13 members that were saddled with touring the whole of Nigeria and then recommending where states should be created and where local governments should be created. So I was a member of that 13-member committee of Chief Arthur Mbanifo, and we toured the whole of this country, most of the time by road, during Abacha's time. And then we recommended the creation of 6 states, and Nasarawa being one of them. That's when you have Gombe, you have Zamfara, you have Ebonyi, and then you have, Ekiti in the southwest. So these 6 states, and Gombe, these 6 states, we recommended them. Yeah, in each geopolitical zone. So really, I was involved, in all the agitation for the state creation. Now we got the state, thank God. In 1996, October 1996, Abacha gave us state, and that is why we in Nasarawa State, we can't forget General Abacha. No, we can't. No.
Oh, that's good, really. But you didn't touch on the issue of the burden of democracy and the cost of democracy.
This was touched during the Abacha time, during the Constitutional Conference of 94-95. And let me tell you, that conference was a conference where the juggernauts attended. The late Sheikh Adwa was a member. The late Alex Ekweme was a member. Sani Zangondara, a member. Chief Adebanjo of this Southwest was a member. So many of these people talking now about real politics.
Nigeria was there.
They were members, yes. Nigeria was there. And the reason, Nigeria was about to break, because consequent to June 12th, consequent to June 12th. Yes, the Constitutional Conference of Abacha was after June 12th. So really, those who were elected, they were, the real juggernauts in the various areas.
They came equipped,
yes. But you can see that Nigerians really want to be one country. Because that was the time that Nigeria would have broken. But no, we agreed to be Nigeria. The real argument was whether we should go back to parliamentary system or we should continue with the presidential system. There was tough discussion
on this issue.
Yes. But the majority still wanted presidential system, and definitely presidential system is not suitable to us. It's too costly. It's too wasteful. Not only that, power is too concentrated on one hand. Because once you are the governor, finish. Once you are the president, finish.
Alpha and Omega.
Yes. Yeah. But if it is parliamentary system, yes, you have the premier, you have the prime minister. They are first among equals. And not only that, as a member of the parliament, you have the right to talk. And the parliament itself is not just legislative, it is also executive. So you are combining executive with the legislative work.
And there are not as many as we have now.
They are not as many. Not only that, they don't go and stay all the time there.
Okay, they're on part-time basis. They only go for sitting. After that, they disperse.
They just go for sitting and come back. So that the ministers and the permanent secretaries and the engineers, the administrators, whatnot, they run the system in the various ministries. But the people who are elected as parliamentarians, they just go for meetings. Whether 6 times in a year or 10 times a year, whatever. They just go for a sittings and then come back. They don't stay permanent there. It's only the ministers that are permanent. But then the ministers also attend parliament. Parliamentary secretary or junior ministers also attend parliament. The premier himself or the prime minister himself will attend parliament, either at the state or at the federal level.
How come at that constitutional conference where Nigeria was represented, as you said, strongly represented from all regions of this country, how come this issue didn't scale through, but the democracy, the American fashion of democracy, seemed to have been or to have gotten the upper hand?
The reason is that, we were using the presidential system, which started during the Shagari time, 79. Now, the senior people who were there, that is the leaders, most of them felt we should continue with the presidential system. But there was a segment of some leaders and also some of us, the junior ones, who felt we should go back to the parliamentary system, especially the aspect of cost.
Still, some undertones at the moment within these recent times suggest towards that this issue of regionalization or confederation instead of federation and restructuring. In so many times you can hear people talking now, from the top to the bottom, from the east to the west, to the north and the rest of them. That is a fallout of that thinking, especially when you talk about the cost of democracy.
Edo, you see, these people who are talking about restructuring, they are not even sincere. Okay. Why? Nigeria had 3 regions before. It came to 4. Now we have 36 states. Is that not restructuring? We now have 36 states. So what else are you talking about?
But the majority of them seem to point towards the decentralization of power.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, because even at the Constitutional Conference, the constitution we drafted devolved a lot of powers to the states and local governments. And I'm sorry to say, our local governments are not functioning very well like the native authorities of those days. In those days, when we had northern Nigeria, eastern Nigeria, western Nigeria, the native authorities, they were governments. They were real local governments. But now, what is it? You know? And to be so stupid, we are carrying the presidential system even to the local government level. You now, at a local government level, you have a legislative council. How many laws do they pass? Eh? I mean, even at the Constitutional Conference, we recommended that, of 94-95 by Abacha, that local government should be run under parliamentary system. Honestly, the draft constitution we drafted, you know, in 95 and gave Abacha, local governments we recommended should be done under parliamentary system. Because that's the reality. That's the reality.
The present administration has looked into this critically and then is checking the democratic tenets as it were. And that is by trying to ensure that there is that autonomy by states, local governments, and of course, on the other hand, by the segments of democracy, legislature, executive, and the judiciary, and by extension, some independent bodies like the Independent National Electoral Commission to have some certain measure of autonomy to themselves so that they can be able to function as an institution. That is the Buhari policy. What would you say about this?
Is yes and no. Yes and no in the sense that it is not just autonomy that will make the local government function. They will just be pamphlet. As long as you have presidential system at the local government level, it's useless. And the other aspect is you have removed traditional rulers totally from the function of local government. That was a very big mistake. Honestly. Now you have security problem. Wallahi, if we had our traditional rulers really involved in the administration of our local governments, some of these security problems would have been checked right from the time when, you know, they were embryonic stage. Removing the traditional rulers completely from the running of local government is a big mistake. And I agree with you totally that there is need for devolution of more powers to the states from the center. Oh, I agree with that. It will help us. You know, it will help us. You know. And then hoping that with elections we have the right people. For example, because of democracy and because we want to do presidential, we say each state should have state electoral commission. Are they doing the job? No, honestly. All these state elections in the 36 states of the Federation, they are useless. No need for it. Because the ruling party will win. All over.
Is that why they are useless?
So, you do election, whether you win or not, it is the ruling party that will return itself. This is what is happening in all the states.
So virtually there are no elections therefore, because there should be some dissenting views in elections. People choose who they want.
If to say it was INEC at the center that was running local government election, you will have more sanity. Because you see, whether you like it or not, the way a president will be manipulating things is not the way a governor of a state would be manipulating things. Because the governor is really very near to the grassroots. Honestly.
And if the autonomy goes to the local government, the same thing happens there.
These boys, because now local government chairmen, they are the young people. Everybody has left it for them. And all this shout they are doing, young. No, look. The parliamentary system, honestly, you people in the press, you should promote this thing. This presidential system is not suitable for Nigeria.
Security, it's a problem in this country at the moment. There's no two-way about that. And everybody feels really bad about the present security situation, especially in the north. We used to hear of terrorism from the films and movies and things like that. Here it is today at our doorsteps, banditry, kidnapping, compounding the Boko Haram issue. But it's heartwarming to hear the president speak about, how this thing has gotten him to an age that he's thinking of looking at the, military, hierarchy and rejigging the security apparatus of this country. What's your take on this?
If I remember, myself, Umaru Azores Sulaiman, in 1959, being in Government College Kefi, that small boy, being kidnapped. You can see it. It's terrible. And my feeling is that government has to sit up. Why can't we recruit 500,000 soldiers and policemen to face Boko Haram and these bandits once and for all, even if it is contract of 1 year? 500,000 soldiers and policemen, a contract of 1 year to face these bandits and Boko Haram. Stop starting some capital projects and face this security problem.
For 360 days.
Yes.
Let's maybe dedicate the budget, for instance, towards that. Mm-hmm.
Let's face it. It's very horrifying.
But in the face of the, competing demands, ASU is there not in classes.
Yes.
COVID-19 is here knocking at everybody's door. Recession is there knocking at the government's door, and people are really facing it. And the unemployed team are all over the place. Do you think that is feasible, sir?
There is nothing more important than security. Because the number one responsibility of a government is to safeguard life of the human beings and the property of the human beings. The number one priority is to safeguard life and property of the people. If there is no peace, if there is no security, what are you talking about ASU and all this? No. They have closed down schools now in some of the states. One is not in Borno State, but you can feel the type of pain in that state. Haba. We should sacrifice 1 year and face this Boko Haram and the bandits. Yes.
Well, Umaru, that's yeah, I can see that. No, as we say now, democracy is all about the majority having its way and then the minority having its say. So everybody's entitled to his opinion. And these are the opinions we really want to really see and hear, so that out of that, when you aggregate them, something is going to come out of it.
I think so.
Thank you so very much for appearing on Reflections this evening.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And I hope that our discussion will, gravitate into something, because that's how it should be. Gathering opinion of people, and at the end of the day, maybe 1 or 2 things can be picked and then be made useful to the nation. Yeah.
After the interview with Ambassador Sulaiman, we really went out to hear from other people that are related to him, especially some of his family members, and of course his colleagues and contemporaries. And then this is the excerpt of what we got from them.
And then school-wise, I think they had a lot of experience, and they achieved a lot, especially the small children that we went. There was a small boy, our last baby. He started his nursery there, so they achieved a lot, and some of them went to universities there. About 4 of our children finished from there.
What can you say about their culture?
I think their culture, they have, they have a lot of respect for the elders. They have a lot of respect for the elders. I couldn't believe the way they were respecting their elders. For example, if you are entering a train, we call it sky train, if an elder man should come in, you are sitting down, you have to stand up and give him the seat. And whenever an elderly man is passing, they have two types of greeting. They have one like this, and they have one. So,
They're the same.
yeah, but when they do like this, you know what it means. And when they do like this, you know what it means also. It means one is a respected person, or is a senior, or is their uncle or their relation, a senior relation. And the other one is for any other person, maybe their friends, or they just say Sadikap.
Your Excellency, what can you tell us about Ambassador Sulaiman Umar Azores in relation to being a father of the family?
I've known my husband for the past 30 years. He has been a very caring and loving husband. He's everything any wife could wish to have. He is kind, he is gentle, he is polite. In fact, he is just everything.
What kind of father is he to you?
Him as a father to all. We grew up with so many people in our houses which we thought they were related to us, but indeed they are not. They are just from maybe the same community or the locality. If you look at this house, you would see so many people who sleep, eat in this house, but they are not related to him in any way. He accommodates everybody, and he believes in building his community, and he has done so all his life. He believes in service, which he has done all his life, and we have grown to know him as a very principled person. He takes integrity very highly, and we have learned that from him. You know, when we go out, his name has opened so many doors for us. Just by knowing we are his children or related to him, it has opened doors. Not because the people think they would get anything from him, but what he has sown before, what he has done for so many other people, and they know him to be a very gentleman. He's an elder statesman within this community and outside the community, and wherever he has had the opportunity to serve, he has served diligently. He's always willing to serve, and wherever he has served, the people always call upon him for some advice or just whatever he can add. Whatever value he can add to them, they come to him for it.
Ambassador Sulaiman is a person we've met this evening and talked to, and we found him really interesting a personality. Can you tell us who this person is, as far as you are concerned?
Call it, don't be too religious, but this is something that we believe in us. You see, the kind of person you are going to be is endowed on you right from the time you are in your mother's womb. I mean, that's correct, isn't it? I mean, that's Islamic, that's our own belief anyway. So you see, Morazos, right from the time I could say, I may not be even wrong if I say as toddlers, the kind of person, the kind of personality each and every one of us was building on, was manifesting us at that time. I believe he told you this one, he had chemistry, quite right. But then because God has made him to be an administrator and a politician, at the time when we grew up, we graduated from the universities, then instantly my wife was a nurse. And then one of the his early appointment was he was a secretary of hospital management board. So he was a boss to my wife, And one day when I went to his office, I said, okay, but what are you doing here? Why are you wasting your time? A chemist. Then at the time we were in school, in secondary school, there was this kind of a funny development among us that was out of youthful exuberance, you wouldn't like to be identified, as, or I say, let me use it, you would like to be identified as a science student.
The mentality.
That's right. If then you feel you have some kind of aura, you have some kind of prestige, you have some kind of brain.
Much higher than the
That's right. That's right. It's not everybody can be a science student now.
Yes.
You understand me now? So if you read physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, that's
the brightest.
that's right. That's right.
And he was among them.
He was among us.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Then after doing that, going all through the thick and thin, graduating as a chemistry, special,
Come and stay in those class
as an administrator.
No.
That's right. But why was your time doing this kind of thing?
Yes.
You see now?
So what was
But
his
then-
response then?
Okay. Yeah, that was something that I'm telling you now. Most of us now in this kind of thing, we try to bring religion into. At times, if something happens to you, I say, I say, what is it? How can I like Adara?
Destiny.
I say destiny.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normally the quickest one, the first thing you will answer.
The
answer.
escapist way, really.
I said, what I do here, wasting your time here now. Instead of going to bring out some other, chemists, some scientists, and this kind of, you're wasting your time. I'm here too. You're wasting your time. And he said, that's what God has ordained on him. I couldn't argue anymore. So why I'm telling you this, that is to say, as I told you earlier when I was building up my speech, I said we believe that God, right from the time you're in your mother's womb, God has ordained what you are going to be. And if you are lucky, the moment you grow up, you just follow the path. If you're not lucky, you miss road, you take a wrong road. After sometimes about spending 30, 40 years, you change. Maybe you turn to a wrong one again. It's 30, 40 years, until sometimes some people will even die without taken to the right path. But some people at the tail end, they will be lucky. They come to the tail end. So you see, he is born administrator and a politician also.
In maybe 60 seconds, tell us what you want to be remembered for.
One, I want to be remembered for that a human being who has been opportune by God Almighty to be in certain places at the right time, and also trying one's best to see how one, can assist his or her community. And the creation of state, the Nasarawa state, is very paramount in my memory, because it's one legacy. Because I know that I left the civil service of Plateau State and got appointment as Deputy General Manager of Federal Fertilizer in Kaduna because of my stand on the right of the people of Nasarawa State to have a state. And God has given us the state. No, that's a good legacy. And without praising myself, I am satisfied to say that I'm always grateful to Almighty God for putting me in certain places at the right time to contribute my quota that will assist my people.
Thank you very much. I want to refer to this creation of Nasarawa State, which you are part of, as your defining moment. And for the people of Nasarawa State, defining moment in Nigerian politics. It's our pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. We must really also thank you for being part of this program. It's been a 15 minutes discussion with Ambassador Umaru Azores Sulaiman, who has been, as we just said, a stalwart of the APC, and of course, a person who has been at the center of the creation of Nasarawa State and has contributed his part to the development of the state. It's our pleasure you've come along with us. We hope you are going to do the same when next we come your way with another personality. Until then, stay safe, take care of yourself, and take responsibility. Coronavirus is real. I am Yusuf Nadabo Usman saying bye for now.